WHOW, WEZC, Lincoln Printers Business of the Month.
The Vault Community Center on Mr. Lincoln Square in Clinton is a nonprofit teen community center offering an environment for social, academic, and spiritual growth through opportunities and services. They'll receive a $200 gift certificate, good at Lincoln Printers and Sign Designs, for being our WHOW WEZC Lincoln Printers Business of the Month. Nominate a business you'd like featured by emailing us at WHOW@randyradio.com.
Congratulations to this local business for all they do for the community. And don't forget, for envelopes, wedding invitations, signs, banner wraps, and more, go to LincolnPrintersInc.com.
From the Hart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. DeWitt County and Enel Clean Energy have had their differences in the past, and DeWitt County is looking for more ways to hold them accountable. At Monday night's DeWitt County Land Use Committee meeting, Committee Chair Buck Carter brought up wind farm ordinances, looking to reinforce ordinances that require regular reports from wind farms within the county. Joe Whitty pointed out that could come in July from Enel.
The other thing I put on to address was a little bit about the wind farm requirements and reports and results. And something that not only me, I think a lot of people are aggravated with. Just they met a year ago with us, tried to bring us up to date. We've not had any reporting from them since. I think in the ordinance they are required to give us an annual report. So I think we should notify them that we expect to hear from them what's going on with the reporting.
So I think their anniversary, if I'm not mistaken, I would say it's like May or June, and I think we did get an annual report this past anniversary. So yeah, I don't think they're due for that again until this coming summer. There wasn't much in there.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. But if we can touch base with them, let them know we're still watching them. We're not satisfied with their operation. We don't think they're living up to the agreement that they had with us.
The county asked Enel last year for an ADLS system that would only turn the flashing lights atop the wind turbines on while aircraft are within the wind farm's airspace. Enel reported that they would work on this, but have failed to provide updates on that progress.
The ADLS system, they told us when they had some minor errors and they were looking for the technician to work on it. Well, obviously they're not working on it because it's shut off. They're not even trying to make it work. And I think we need to touch base with them again and let them know that we still expect that ADLS system to work, and they should be pursuing the effort to repair it.
They should check with Piatt County because it looks like their ADLS is working.
So,
Zoning Administrator Elizabeth Weichel indicated that she has reached out to Enel multiple times in recent months with no response. She adds that she would reach out she added that she would reach out again in an attempt to communicate the county's frustrations.
I have an email into them already because I sent them an email, I think it was about September, October, and they were supposed to be getting me some more information, and I didn't hear from them, so I sent them another one in December, and then I haven't heard a response because they actually owe us an updated decommissioning as well.
Right, that was my other question I had here, is that the decommissioning and I think there's an insurance coverage of
I think there is.
That was at the 3-year period. And I think they're at the 3-year period.
Yeah.
I've got a question. Did they curtail on the 28th?
That is also part of my email. I don't have curtailment for that yet. December, I sent them an email that said, I need all your curtailments that you're missing, and I need your decommissioning, and then I gotta send them a new one for the ALDS.
Well, they obviously feel different about it than we do, so we need to stay on them.
Weichel was very busy during her first year as the county zoning administrator, and we'll have more on the work she completed during the year this weekend from the Hard Media Group. A DeWitt County nonprofit is beginning its latest survey of the community to help guide its decisions and funding for the next 3 years. Sharon Mills with the DeWitt County 708 Mental Health Board indicates that the every 3-year assessment process begins soon, and they are asking for everyone in the community to weigh in.
Well, the community survey is available online on Facebook at Heritage Behavioral Health Center's page, as well as the DeWitt County Mental Health Board's Facebook page. We'll be sharing that to other pages related to different communities in DeWitt County as well. So you'll be able to find it online, as well as each of our libraries in DeWitt County are working with us to have paper copies of the survey available, since everyone isn't online. People can make it to their local library, they can take a survey there and leave it there. Any resident of DeWitt County. We're doing the survey until the end of January. It's an anonymous survey, shouldn't take more than about 10 minutes to complete, and it is available in English and Spanish. We'd like any resident in DeWitt County, either with or without that lived experience, to participate. But even if someone doesn't have that experience themselves, it's very likely they know someone, whether a family member or a friend, that may have a mental health issue. Perhaps they have a substance use challenge or an intellectual or developmental disability.
One of the accomplishments from the survey that happens every 3 years is the DeWitt County ROSC program. Mills indicates the survey also helps the 708 board in its strategic planning efforts.
Well, one of the big things that happened at the end of the last assessment cycle was our substance abuse coalition disbanding in DeWitt County. Since that time, the DeWitt County ROSC, or Recovery Oriented System of Care, has developed and grown to fill that void, and is really doing an amazing job of gathering community members, whether they have a lived experience or not, social service providers who want to work together to support people in terms of making connections to treatment, or being involved in prevention type activities, or developing activities for people with lived experience who are in recovery, so that they have places to go and be together and have a sense of belonging and community. Well, we'll begin strategic planning this spring once we have a full report. We are also planning to do community presentations from the assessment, which is something that we did last time, trying to hit each of our communities and typically through the libraries, to have a time for people to come and hear a presentation and share additional insights they may have particular to their own community.
Mills directs anyone wanting to participate in the needs assessment to find the DeWitt County Mental Health Board or Heritage Behavioral Health Services on Facebook. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
Happy New Year from all of us here at Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. This is Scott Baum. Most of our customers trade for a different SUV or truck because their needs change each year. That's good because we have transportation options for you. Plus, we need your trade. Our selection of top quality pre-owned trades come from you. Come see our ever-changing Chevrolet and Buick inventory today. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
News time is 17 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Strategic planning is vital to the success of most any organization, and a Central Illinois school district has finalized its latest strategic plan with an eye towards future growth. Adam Ibbotson is the superintendent of Maroa-Forsyth schools and indicates that any strategic plan has to have a purpose or foundation. With that in mind, the district tweaked its mission statement, or as he calls it, their why.
The first thing we really talked about, and if you think about it in strategic planning, kind of the bedrock of everything is really that mission statement of why you exist along the way. So we reevaluated that. The district had done strategic planning back 2019, 2020 was the last time they had done that, and had developed the mission statement and core beliefs. And that was really the thing that helped led to the middle school being built, the referendum that happened, and a lot of the improvements that you see at Maroa-Forsyth were from that strategic plan. So our community stakeholders that were at the meeting really felt positive about it. So we reevaluated the mission, and it got tweaked just a little bit. Cultivate a learning environment that challenges all students to reach their unique potential. So that word cultivate, kind of our agricultural roots, you got to water, you got to fertilize, you got to tend, you got to weed, you got to work through it. And we want kids, wherever they're at, to reach that unique potential that everyone has. And that was really pretty true to the same core that they developed back in 2019. Last time they didn't do a vision statement. They just had a mission statement and then core beliefs. So the vision is what do we want to be? What's our ideal down the road? And our group came up to be the premier destination district in Central Illinois. We want people, when they move to our area, we want them to think about coming to Maroa-Forsyth, that it's the place to be. And that's what we aspire to be. And that could take on any number of things for kids and families as they come to move into Central Illinois and the Decatur area. But we want to be that premier area as kind of our lofty goal to try to head out.
According to Ibbotson, there are a number of layers for the strategic plan that culminate in the action steps of the plan. He notes there are a number of them that will start to take off as soon as this spring.
For us, we need to start, once you know why you exist and what you want to become in the future, what do you really believe to make that happen? And then what are the goals that make it actionable? Sure. So we sat down and went through a belief survey, looking at the community survey and then our own group itself. And we talked about kind of 6 core beliefs that we could all hang our hat on and say, yep, that's something that our community really believes in. Achievement was one of them. Mutual respect, communication between students and families where people can share thoughts and ideas, safety, strengthen and enhance and secure our environments where kids and teachers can feel safe. We want to partner with our community. We have such strong community support at Maroa-Forsyth. We want to continue to enhance that. And personal growth. We don't want to be in a fixed mindset. We want to be able to grow. We all have things to learn. So we want to continue to grow. Not that what we're doing is not great, but how can we make it even better? So that growth mindset and then those values. And from those values, kind of build the next pillar. So if you think about mission, vision, core beliefs, then we start moving towards like the action steps and what those goals really need to be. So we spent a lot of time. This was probably the bulk of the strategic plan. What do we want those goals to look like? And I want to be clear that these aren't build a school. These are not, we need to add this program. We're going to add the staff member. They're broader goals that will go into action steps. And that's kind of the next part as we move into 26 here in the spring, that we'll be developing specific action steps with timelines, cost, and accountability. I think that's really important to the board, that you can have any goal you want and you can put the plan on the table and it could sit on a shelf. But if there's not something that's actionable, measurable, and report on progress, what's the point of having the plan?
Within the strategic plan are 6 goals, and Ibbotson points out that there is a little overlap with some. However, they are striving to create a great learning environment for students and an attractive place for families moving to Central Illinois.
The goals really focused on 6 key areas for the goals. And number 1 was staffing and retention. How do we attract quality teachers and how do we retain the great teachers we have? As you know, and we've talked before, the teaching market and when we get applications, it's a lot different than it was 10 years ago. So how do we maintain the great staff and how do we retain and how do we recruit the next group? Academic rigor and alignment. Maroa-Forsyth offers a great educational experience for kids pre-K through 12. How do we continue to enhance that academic rigor and alignment? How do we continue to do things working with dual credit? How do we work with CTE programs? How do we work with STEM programs? How do we enhance that educational experience pre-K-12 to where that's even better? Equity, inclusion, and fairness. We want everyone to feel safe. We talked about our focus this year is we're all Trojans. How do we continue to take our diverse community, socioeconomic diversity, racial, ethnic diversity, whatever diversity you want to talk about, it could be intellectual pieces, whatever that diversity is. How do we make sure that every kid feels a part of it, that everyone feels like they're a part of the Trojan family? How do we create that strong sense of belonging? Student well-being and mental health. Well, that sounds similar. It's also, this is more about how do we support kids in that mental health realm? Communication. We spent a lot of time talking about communication. Everyone has a website. Everyone has social media. We have Skyward. We have School Messenger. We have all these different pieces. So how do we really, the first part of this goal really is how do we create a plan of how we want to communicate? So what do we want to get out to families? And then how are we going to do that? Because I feel like we're communicating a lot, but maybe not necessarily with intentionality all the time. And how do we streamline to make it easier for parents to find information, community members to find information, staff, students? I think we need to look at all the things we're doing and create that plan and then create systems that make that more efficient. And then finally, facilities and extracurricular balance. So we have great facilities. We have great learning environments for kids, but how do we enhance those things to maintain those facilities, academic, fine arts, extracurriculars that really promote students. Students should drive what the school does. So if the students have that need, then we need to be able to provide that programming and maybe a facility or maybe a learning environment that adds to that. So those 6 goals were really kind of the foundations built on the pillars of the mission to cultivate everyone to reach their unique potential, to be that destination district, those 6 core values that we believe in strongly. Those 6 goals will help us achieve those things.
We'll have more with Ibbotson on some specific plans the district has, particularly relating to facilities. Visit mfschools.net for more information and find the district on Facebook. Eyeing the fertilizer market in 2026, Veronica Nye is with the Fertilizer Institute. What is she telling farmers as they look to spring planting season?
I'd say certainly that there's going to be probably a lot of application that was deferred from the fall that is going to be happening in the spring. So I would reach out to your retailer maybe earlier than you usually do, and start making those plans, because there's going to be, spring's always tough, right? It's always tough to get product done and get all the things that you need to do done in such a short window. I think this year's going to be even more challenging because of some of that deferred application that occurred, that will have occurred from the fall. So it's going to be tight, and I'd certainly think about that. I'd also think about, maybe working with your certified crop advisor to think about maybe exploring different product mixes. We've seen, in other parts of the world, growers moving towards things like instead of using urea, maybe ammonium sulfate, or instead of MAP and DAP, using TSP, or instead of if you have the ability to to switch from UAN to urea, or try ammonia anhydrous for the first time. I'm not going to tell a grower how to grow. What the heck do I know? But this may be the year to get creative, because there may be some opportunity to mix things up and find some ability to find some and I'm going to use air quotes here, relative deals.
Nye provided an update during the American Farm Bureau Federation convention over the weekend in Anaheim. If you are having trouble making ends meet and you are an Ameren customer, you may be in luck as far as help with your power bill. The Warm Neighbors, Cool Friends program can help out with energy costs. The programs are designed to help low to moderate income customers, in particular those that may make too much money for LIHEAP. Sue Sams is the executive director of the Warm Neighbors Cool Friends program. She says they were established in 1982, originally as a weatherization program before evolving into an assistance program.
Way back then, we helped 0 to 200% of the federal poverty level, which now is covered by LIHEAP, the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program through the state and federal government. And our board of directors decided that we would help people who couldn't get help anyplace else.
For more information, call 1-800-755-5000. Despite the capture of the leader of Venezuela and the seize of significant oil tankers, a leader in the energy sector believes the impact on Americans at the pump will be minimal.
There's a lot of potential here, right? A lot of us have probably heard the statistic that Venezuela has the world's largest proven oil reserve. So there's a lot at stake, but there's not a lot at stake today, right? There's a lot of potential. But to your point, Venezuela is producing less than 1 million barrels a day, which is less than 1% of the total amount of crude oil being supplied globally. So all in all, today, it's not so critical to oil prices. Oil prices moved a little bit on the open, but I mean, ultimately, when you step back from the situation and look at the reality of it, while Maduro may be gone, a lot of his loyalists are still in power across Venezuela, whether it's his VP, the head of the military. So the real question is there actually going to be a regime change? Is there going to be more leadership that allows the oil sector to flourish, or is it going to be more of the same? Is the president going to want to ease sanctions on loyalists that align with Maduro? And only then, when the sanctions are eased, can U.S. companies start to invest more.
Dahan says the oil in Venezuela is heavy and dense, meaning it needs additives to make it clean. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com. Network news is now.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Troubling statement from Iran's top judge as anti-government protesters continue to die for the cause of freedom. The jurist speaking of quick trials and speedy executions of those arrested for involvement in the demonstrations. President Trump says the ruinous inflation that was unleashed during the Biden years is being brought to heel. He says he'll have some more proposals to upgrade the economy in the coming weeks. The president also says that anything less than having Greenland in the United States' hands is unacceptable to him. China's trade surplus has surged 20%, hitting a record $1.2 trillion.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. In a game heard on WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com, Nolan Benny-Kemper hit a go-ahead jumper with under a minute left, and Monticello rallied from a 9-point second-half deficit to beat Mattoon 67-66 in non-conference high school boys basketball action on Tuesday night at the Seaver Center in Monticello. The Sages and Green Wave played back and forth almost the entire game with 18 lead changes and 7 ties. The Green Wave used a 10-0 run to open up a 55-46 lead at the end of the third quarter, but the Sages would slowly chip away at the lead. Matthias Rudolph hit a pair of free throws to make the score 66-65, and then Benny Kemper hit an open jumper at the elbow to give the Sages their first lead since the third quarter. Mattoon shot 15 for 35 from 3. The Sages finished 8 of 18 from distance and shot 50% from the floor. They controlled the glass with a 35-25 edge. Rudolph had a double-double with 21 points and 10 rebounds. Aiden McCool finished with 17 points, and Gus Reppert added 13 points with 9 coming in the first quarter. Max Wetzel hit 6 threes to finish with 18 points to lead Mattoon. Lincoln Hayes scored 17 points, and Chandler Rice chipped in with 14 points. The Green Wave dropped to 10 and 8 overall. Monticello improves to 10 and 3. The Sages open Illini Prairie Conference action on Thursday at Rantoul. Hear the action starting at 7 p.m. on 95.9 FM WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. Both teams went scoreless in the second quarter, and the Monticello Lady Sages defeated the St. Thomas More Lady Sabres by a final score of 54-23 in non-conference high school girls basketball action on Tuesday night in Champaign. The score was 23-9 after the first quarter, and that's where it would stay entering halftime, as neither team managed a bucket in the second quarter. After halftime, the Lady Sages regrouped and outscored the Lady Sabres 31-14 in the second half. Monticello was led by Kiara Grace, who scored 14 points. Lexi Leatherwood and Anaya Shepard had 10 points each, while Emma Arnold added 19 rebounds. With the win, Monticello improves to 10 and 8, while St. Thomas More falls to 3 and 13. The Lady Sages will begin Illini Prairie Conference play when they take on Rantoul on Friday in Monticello. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. Argenta Oreana took the lead in the first quarter and never looked back as they defeated the Arthur-Lovington-Atwood-Hammond Knights by a final score of 68-56 in Little Oka Valley Conference boys basketball action on Tuesday in Argenta. The Bombers led 19-12 after the first quarter and held on to the lead the rest of the way, building the 12-point win over the following three quarters. Isaiah Parks led all scorers with 22 points for Argenta Oreana. Jackson Finch and Carter Logue added 19 points each. ALAH was led by Will Hilligas with 11 points. Marcus Otto and Cooper Schumacher had 10 apiece. The Knights fall to 2-14 and 0-2 in the LOVC. With the win, the Bombers improve to 6-10 and 2-1 in conference play. They continue LOVC action tonight when they play host to the Tri-County Titans. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. Cabron Lee continued his hot streak and helped the Maroa-Forsyth Trojans defeat the St. Teresa Bulldogs by a final score of 66-46 in non-conference high school boys basketball action on Tuesday night in Decatur. The Trojans got ahead early, gaining a 16-9 lead after the first and a 32-20 lead at the half. They continue to push the margin of their victory to 20 points through the second half. Cabron Lee led all scorers with 29 points from Maroa-Forsyth. Kobe Lane added 17 points, including 9 points from distance. With the win, Maroa-Forsyth improves to 10-4, while St. T falls to 6-8. Maroa-Forsyth boys and girls will travel to Monticello on Saturday to take on the Sages. The girls tip off at 3 p.m. and the boys at 4:15 p.m. You can hear all the action in a WEZC doubleheader on 95.9 FM and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. Jaquan Johnson scored 35 points, and Montana Wheeler added 8 points in overtime as Bradley knocked off Evansville 94-90 on Tuesday. Johnson added 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and 6 steals for the Braves, who go to 13-6 and 6-2 in the Missouri Valley Conference. Wheeler shot 6 of 9 from the field and 4 of 4 from the line to add 17 points. Ahmet Janovic had 15 points and shot 6 of 8 from the field and 3 of 3 from the free throw line. Leaf Moeller led the Purple Aces in scoring, finishing with 26 points, 6 assists, and 2 steals. They fall to 5-14 and 1-7 in the Missouri Valley Conference. Bryce Quinet added 20 points for Evansville. AJ Casey finished with 13 points and 6 rebounds and 4 assists. Bradley entered halftime down 36-29. Johnson paced the team in scoring in the first half with 11 points. Johnson scored 20 in second half points as Bradley and Evansville ended regulation tied at 79. Wheeler shot 2 of 2 from the field and 4 of 4 from the free throw line on the way to their 8 points in overtime. Kevin Durant had 28 points, and Alperen Sengun added 23 with 11 assists to lead the Houston Rockets to a 119-113 win over the Chicago Bulls on Tuesday night. There were 35 lead changes in the game, with neither team able to build a cushion until the Rockets did in the final minutes. Houston trailed by 1 with about 3.5 minutes to go before going on a 7-2 run to make it 110-106. Durant got things going in that stretch with a dunk, and Jabari Smith Jr. added a three-pointer. A layup by Trey Jones cut the lead to 2, but Smith made a jumper before knocking down a 3 from the top of the key to extend the lead to 115-108 with about 90 seconds remaining. Kevin Huerter made a layup for Chicago after that, but a booming dunk by Durant left Houston up 117-110 with less than a minute to play. Amen Thompson added 23 points for the Rockets, and Smith scored 10 of his 18 points in the fourth quarter to help Houston snap a 3-game skid. Jones had a career-high 34 points for the Bulls, who lost their 4th time in 5 games. The Rockets led by 6 with about 8 minutes left before the Bulls scored the next 7 points with 3-pointers by Isaac Okoro and Ayo Dosunmu to take a 99-98 lead midway through the 4th. Houston was just 4 of 20 on 3-point attempts when Thompson hit 1 to put the Rockets back on top, but Matis Buzelis made 1 for the Bulls seconds later to give them a 102-101 lead. Thompson made 2 free throws after that before a bad pass by Durant led to a basket by Buzelis that left Chicago up 104-103 with 3.5 minutes left. The Bulls will host Utah on Wednesday night. The Rockets host the Thunder on Thursday night. Joel Hofer made 33 saves as the St. Louis Blues snapped a 3-game losing streak by shutting out the Carolina Hurricanes 3-0 on Tuesday night. Nick Bjugstad, Dalibor Dvorsky, and Jimmy Snuggerud scored for the Blues. Hofer notched his 4th shutout of the season and first since December 17th. Brandon Busey made 28 saves for the Hurricanes. It was only the 3rd regulation loss for Busey in 20 career games. Carolina was shut out for the first time this season and had its 5-game point streak come to an end. The Blues took control with 3 second-period goals. Bjugstad's short-handed tally for the Blues at the 3-minute and 9-second mark broke the scoreless tie. It was the first goal since November 6th for Bjugstad, who returned against Carolina after missing the last 15 games with an upper body injury. Dvorsky made it 2-0 Blues at the 9:45 mark. Jake Neighbors got the primary assist, running his point streak to 4 games. Snuggerud added to the St. Louis lead with a power play goal at 7 minutes and 11 seconds left. It was the second time this season that the Blues had both a shorthanded power and a power play goal in the same game. Hofer was strong throughout, stopping all 9 shots he faced in the first period, gloving a one-timer from Jesperi Kodakanemi in the second, and getting in front of a flurry of Carolina chances early in the 3rd. The Blues were without forward Robert Thomas with a lower body injury and defenseman Philip Broberg with a concussion. The Hurricanes host Florida on Friday night. The Blues host Tampa on Friday night. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL SportsWire on your preferred social media platforms, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.